got your tests, you've got your standards, you've got your SMART goals, all of these things. You've got your expectations for students. How do you know if the students are making progress towards those desired outcomes? That's the role of your formative assessments. We're going to take a look at different ways to use AI to create formative assessments. We'll look at elementary, middle school, and high school, and we'll look at the content areas language arts, mathematics, and science. Though honestly, since we're going to look at such a big variety here, you ought to be able to adapt them from your content area and your specific kids. All right, so with that in mind, let's start with language arts elementary. Create a short paragraph with 3 spelling errors and ask second grade students to find and fix them. So, what does it look like? And actually, I was a little bit surprised I could get ChatGPT to do spelling errors. Sun was shining bright, and there we go. So that's one, language arts elementary. Let's take a look at a bit of a longer one, middle school. We're reading Hatchet by Gary Paulson. I need some open-ended questions around the concept of analyzing themes. So create questions, and then create a rubric formatted as a grading table for grading the responses. And for each of those areas, 3 proficiency levels: emerging, proficient, and advanced. So let's see if we can get something from our AI for this. And go. So middle school English language arts. We've got questions about the theme, and we've got our rubric for assessing students' responses, which quite frankly, I'm probably going to give to the students to reflect on their own work and then to revise their responses. All right, and moving quickly on to high school, 10 topics for 10th grade argumentative essays, because getting kids to come up with their own topics is sometimes difficult. But then we need a formative review, a rubric, 5-point rating scale, and a place for comments. Plus, add descriptors for each level in the rubric. So here is type number 2, formative assessment 2. Language arts, high school. We've got 10 topics for students to choose from. And we've got our rubric in this case as well. All right. Then we can grade the students' papers. We can have them grade each other's papers. We can have them look at their own. And overall score, etc., etc., etc. All right, so that is a very quick romp through language arts. Let's turn our attention to mathematics. And elementary, I need 5 quick question quiz on comparing fractions. 5th grade students, comparing fractions, and add an answer key with explanations for students to check their own work. With formative assessments especially, we want the assessment to be a part of the learning process. They need to know what's working, what's not working, how to fix it, and a chance to do it again. Go. Here's a ready-to-use quiz. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I give a chance to work on that. I'm going to collect a copy so I can see if they're making progress, and answer key and explanation, some hints there, so they can then use this to extend their own learning. Very nice. For middle school, self-checking formative quiz for 7th graders on solving equations with variables on both sides. So this is the next type. And I really like the idea of self-checking, so that students, again, can use the assessment as a part of their learning process. They're not at the end. They haven't mastered all the skills. They're making their way towards the outcomes. So they're still learning, which means they need a chance to check their own work and continue the learning process. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, an answer key with the step-by-step explanation. So if they're struggling, they've got a model to follow. I'm sorry to interrupt for just a moment. If this strategy helps you save time, teach more effectively, or lead your school, please subscribe to the channel for practical, no-fluff strategies for educators. And if you found this video helpful, please give it a like and share it with a colleague. On the other hand, if you're a principal or a PD lead looking to prepare your staff for the challenges and opportunities of AI, contact us to schedule customized interactive training grounded in what educators really need. And one more thing, please make sure to click our newsletter link in the description and get your free AI Starter Guide, plus monthly strategies, resources, and information for using AI to improve student achievement. Now, back to the video. Let's now turn our attention to high school. Create a formative assessment, geometry students, and the subject, the content is triangle congruence proofs. So here we have the 6th sample formative assessment. Problem 1 with hints, because it's formative, it's not our summative assessment, and a self-check, things that students can use to guide their work, and did they do it, and here's a way that we can check their understanding. Do you want a full worksheet? Yes. With diagrams? Yes, but not at this time. All right, so that's language arts and mathematics. Let's now turn our attention to science and 3 different types of formative assessments created by the AI. We need a 5-minute formative assessment for 5th grade students, parts of the plants. Add a scoring guide that includes the ability to name major parts and explain their functions. So here we are on number 7, type number 7. Formative assessments and activity, blank sheet of paper, sketch the plant, label them, instructions, scoring guide. Criteria 1, naming the parts. Criterion 2, explaining the functions. So the expectations for the students' work is very clearly laid out at the beginning before they do the activity. All right, let's turn to middle school. I need a 5-question formative quiz. Cell theory, 7th grade life science students. And give me the answer key and scoring guide. Something like this, I'm probably going to have the students trade papers around and assess each other's work. All right, 5 ready to use questions. Multiple choice, short answer, true, false, multiple choice, short answer. We've got an answer key and a scoring guide. Fantastic. Middle school, something similar. Let's see, that was middle school, right? Yes, middle school. And finally, high school. Generate formative assessments. Prompts for 10th grade students studying Newton's laws of motions. Now this one's a little trickier. For each of the laws of motion, provide 3 questions, 3 for each, and differentiate them by intermediate, basic, and advanced. So I've got 3 levels and 3 questions each. Now the very neat thing is students start at the beginning, basic questions, and then they move to advanced. And I can see very easily how far up they get. Are they at the beginning level, the intermediate level, or have they reached the advanced level? It's a nice way to scale their responses and determine the depth at which they have understood the content. So what have we got? First law, basic, intermediate, advanced. Second law, basic, intermediate, advanced. And do you want me to organize them by proficiency level? Yes, that would be great. Here's what I'm looking for. Basic level, 3 questions. Intermediate level, 3 questions. Advanced level, 3 questions. Now I can see very easily, and the students can see where they are in the process of reaching mastery of the content, which is ultimately what formative assessments are for. I hope you found these techniques useful. Take care.